Today on Law Weekly, we'll focus a bit on the elections of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) scheduled for Monday the 14th and Tuesday the 15th of July. We shall speak with one of the leaders of the bar, the chairman of the Lagos branch of the NBA, Mr. Alex Muka, about the process, the perception of the bar, and the kind of leadership that should transcend the branches and the national body of the association. We'll also do a recap of some of the top legal events and stories from the courts in the past week. The program is Law Weekly on Channels Television, and I am Shola Shoyeli.
We begin with the report that some of the courts across the country last week Friday complied with the directive from the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSN. JUSN had directed its members to shut down the state's courts to kick against the non-compliance with the orders of the Federal High Court Abuja on the financial autonomy and independence of the judiciary. From Rivers to Akwa Ibom State in south-south Nigeria, judicial activities were paralyzed as judiciary workers in the oil-rich states effectively stayed away from their duty posts. The situation was the same in Ondo, southwest Nigeria. In Lagos, also in the southwest, the courts were open, and some of the judiciary workers assigned new dates for pending cases to litigants and lawyers. Despite the industrial action, the governor of Anambra State in the southeast, Mr. Willie Obiano, distributed 21 cars to the judiciary workers of the customary Court of Appeal in the state. Before the courts were shut, however, a few cases of public interest did go on last week. In one of such cases, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, arraigned the Taraba State Accountant General, Mr. Joel Lembang. He was arraigned before Justice Donatus Okorowo of the Federal High Court, Jalingo, for defrauding the Taraba State government of 1.56 billion naira. When the charges were read to him, the accused person pleaded not guilty. The offense came to light following a petition received sometime in February 2014 from a concerned Taraba State indigene. It alleged massive looting of Taraba State funds. The petition triggered an investigation of the lifestyle of some of the officers mentioned in the petition and who are believed to be living above their means. The investigation uncovered systematic withdrawal of state funds through a scheme masterminded by the Accountant General of the state, Mr. Joel Lembang. While the EFCC was making a case in that court, it chose to close its case in yet another court, this time in Lagos, where it had arraigned the former aviation minister, Mr. Femi Fani-Kayode. Mr. Fani-Kayode is standing trial on an amended 40-count charge of money laundering. Last week, Thursday, a lawyer from the law firm of Mr. Festus Keyamo, who is prosecuting the case for the EFCC, informed the court of its intention to close its case. The defense counsel, Mr. Wale Akoni, SAN, had no objections. He, however, informed the court of his intention to file a no-case submission on behalf of the former minister. Justice Rita Ofili Ajumogobia then gave directions for the filing of the application and its response before adjourning to October 28th for adoption of final written addresses. A federal high court sitting also in Lagos last week Friday adjourned till September 28th its ruling on the no-case submission of the Lagos State House of Assembly Speaker, Mr. Adeyemi Kuforiji, who is also standing trial for money laundering. The court will also give a verdict on a similar application filed by Honorable Ikeforiji's co-accused, Mr. Oyebode Atoyebi. The EFCC had alleged that both men laundered various sums of money belonging to the Lagos State House of Assembly. They pleaded not guilty, and after the prosecution closed its case, they made a no-case submission, insisting that the EFCC had not succeeded in making a case against them to warrant a defense. Justice Buba cited fatigue and a heavy workload as reasons why the ruling was not ready last week Friday. He then adjourned it till after the court's annual vacation. If the application succeeds, the court will dismiss the charges against both men, but if the application fails, they will be required to defend the charges against them.
Away from the courts, the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee last week Friday swelled the list of senior advocates in the country with the elevation of 17 legal practitioners. This brings to 408 the total number of persons conferred with the rank since 1975. The new wigs include Dr. Olu Onogorua, who was the Attorney General of the Federation, a former Deputy Director General of the Nigerian Law School Enugu campus, Professor Ernest Ojukwu, a consultant to the Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Kemi Balogun, and 14 others. The new SANs will be sworn in on September 22 at the start of the new legal year. At another legal event, the National Association of Judicial Correspondents, NAJUC Lagos, last week Friday held its 2014 annual seminar and award ceremony. The seminar focused on topics aimed at developing the capacity of the judiciary correspondents gathered here. The resource persons were the Director of the Lagos Multi-Door Courthouse, Mrs. Caroline Etuk, the Director of Legal Services of the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Mr. Paul Ejiofor, and Mr. Chris Agbiti from the law firm of Godwin Obla SAN. The association also used the occasion to honor the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Ibrahim Auta, who was represented by Justice John Sow. Other beneficiaries of the meritorious awards were the news editor of This Day, Davison Irekpe, the news editor of the Sun newspaper, Alhaji Shino Ayekoti, and the news editor of Leadership newspaper, Mr. Tony Amokedo, who was represented at the event, as well as the news editor of Vanguard newspaper, Mr. Kayode Matthew. All four men were former leaders of the association. We round off with the report that the Lagos branch of the Nigerian Bar Association has held its 2014 annual Law Week. Lagos, a melting point or no man's land, setting the example for Nigerian unity, was the theme of the week. Gathered in this room is a fine blend of lawyers, including senior advocates and members of the body of benchers. The chairman of the NBA section on business law, Mr. Gbenga Oyebode, chaired the event, while Mr. Ade Paye, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, represented the Lagos State Governor at the event. The lawyers discussed contemporary issues of energy reforms, issues in the maritime industry, the challenges associated with speedy litigation of election petitions, and other issues.